The night is quiet. Above, the stars shine like ancient eyes. Long ago, people wondered, are those lights watching us, or are they guiding us? They named the stars. They made patterns. They told stories. And they began to believe that the sky could speak. Every night, it seemed to whisper secrets. Some thought these secrets could tell a person's past and their future. Even now, we still look up, and we still wonder if the stars know our name. In the past, the sky was a map. It did not just tell direction, it told time. The sun marked the day, the moon marked the month, and the stars marked the seasons. Farmers planted by it. Travelers followed it. Priests and kings studied it. They said, "The heavens have signs. If you can read them, you can know what is to come." These signs became the first horoscopes, a way to turn the sky into a story for each person. Before we walk deeper into the history of horoscopes, pause for a moment. If you enjoy stories that feel like a soft walk under the night sky, subscribe and come back for the next journey. Like this video so we know you are here, listening, wondering, and dreaming with us. Together, we will follow the stars, just as people have done for thousands of years. The stars are not silent. They hold memories of kings, warriors, lovers, and wanderers. Each light is a marker in an endless story. In the next part of our journey, we will go back, far back, to the very first people who gave names to the stars and believed those names could shape human lives. The beginning of the Zodiac awaits. Long before there were books, there was the night sky. People sat around fires and looked up. The darkness above was not empty. It was filled with patterns. A curve of stars became a hunter. A cluster became a goddess. They told these stories again and again until they became a part of life. These shapes in the sky became signs, guiding when to plant, when to travel, and when to celebrate. Over centuries, these signs were not just for farmers or sailors. They became linked to the fate of every person. Births, journeys, and even wars were planned by them. The sky was no longer just nature. It was a mirror for the human soul, and every light above seemed to whisper a truth only a few could read. In the land of Babylon, more than 2,000 years before the time of Christ, priests climbed tall ziggurats to watch the stars. They kept records, night after night, year after year. They noticed that certain star patterns returned at the same time each year. From this, they created a system, 12 signs, each with its own meaning. This was the first zodiac as we know it. The Babylonians believed the sky was a message from the gods. Each sign carried warnings and blessings. When a child was born, they wrote down which sign the sun was in. This sign would shape the child's nature, they believed, just as the river shapes the land. From Babylon, this idea spread like light across the ancient world. Far to the west, in ancient Egypt, the stars were also rulers of time. The rising of the star Sirius marked the flooding of the Nile, the most important event of the year. Temples were built in perfect alignment with the sun and stars. Priests watched the heavens, believing that the gods spoke through the light above. The Egyptians also connected certain stars and planets to their gods. They believed that the moment of birth tied a person to these powers. Pharaohs had their lives read in the stars, just as common farmers did. The sky was a temple without walls, and its roof was eternity itself. And slowly, the idea of personal destiny written in the heavens grew stronger. In ancient Greece, the stars became more than signs. They became a language of logic and philosophy. Greek thinkers like Ptolemy studied Babylonian charts and Egyptian star lore. They added mathematics to the art of reading the heavens. The zodiac was now not only about gods, but also about geometry, angles, and cycles. It was a marriage of myth and reason. For the Greeks, the heavens were a perfect sphere, with Earth at the center. Each sign of the zodiac was a chapter in a cosmic book. Philosophers debated how the stars could influence the human soul, while poets wrote of lovers whose fates were tied to constellations. And through this blending of science and story, astrology gained new depth. Far to the east, in ancient China, the sky was seen as the great balance of all things. The Chinese zodiac was not based on constellations in the same way as the West, but on cycles of time. Years named after animals, moving in repeating patterns. The emperor's court watched the stars and planets to judge harmony between heaven and earth. These cycles shaped festivals, weddings, and even the start of battles. Each animal sign was said to carry a spirit, a way of being. A person born in the year of the dragon was not just a child. They were a child of the dragon's fire. In this way, the Chinese zodiac tied time itself to living symbols. Though Babylon, Egypt, Greece, and China were far apart, they shared one truth: the same sky above. The constellations looked different from each land, yet all were given meaning. The sky was both a mirror and a bridge. Each culture wrote its own chapter in the story of astrology. And as these stories traveled along trade routes, they began to blend. Ideas crossed oceans and deserts. Symbols gained new layers. The zodiac we know today is not the work of one people, but of many. A tapestry woven from 1,000 nights of stargazing. In the next part, we will see how this ancient tapestry fixed the dates we still use. When Rome rose to power, it carried astrology across its empire. Roman generals consulted the stars before battles. Senators checked their horoscopes before making decisions. Even the emperors, from Augustus to Tiberius, kept astrologers close at hand. The zodiac, once local to a few cultures, now stretched from the deserts of Africa to the cold fields of Britain. Rome mixed Greek learning with its own traditions, turning astrology into a tool for politics as well as personal life. In public squares, fortune tellers offered readings for coins. In private villas, scholars compared charts under candlelight. The belief was simple. No matter your rank, the stars spoke to you, if you knew how to listen. As astrology spread, it entered the rhythm of daily life. Farmers used it to choose planting days. Sailors checked it before leaving port. Lovers whispered to each other about their signs. In markets, charms carved with zodiac symbols were sold beside bread and wine. For many, these symbols were more than decoration. They were protection. Children grew up hearing their signs' traits as bedtime stories. A person born under Aries might be told they were as bold as the ram. Someone under Pisces might be called gentle like the fish. These tales shaped how people saw themselves and how they treated others. The sky was a companion, present in every choice, big or small. From deserts to oceans, from kings to shepherds, the zodiac crossed every boundary. It was no longer tied to one culture. It belonged to the world. But knowing the signs was only part of the mystery. Another question remained. Why do the dates of the zodiac fall where they do? In the next part of our journey, we will see how the movement of the sun, earth, and stars created the calendar of the heavens, and why the zodiac's timing is both ancient and ever-changing. If you watch the sun closely, you will see it takes the same path every year. It rises and sets in slightly different places, slowly shifting with the seasons. This path is called the ecliptic. Along it, the sun passes through 12 constellations, the zodiac signs. These are not random. They are fixed by the motion of Earth around the sun. Ancient astronomers marked these moments carefully. They knew that when the sun was in a certain constellation, certain things would happen on Earth. Spring would begin, crops would grow, or winter would arrive. By dividing the year into 12 parts, each linked to a constellation, they created a calendar written in the sky. This is why our zodiac signs follow specific dates. The year has 4 powerful turning points, 2 solstices and 2 equinoxes. At the solstices, the sun reaches its highest or lowest point in the sky, marking the longest and shortest days. At the equinoxes, day and night are equal in length. These moments have guided human timekeeping for thousands of years. The zodiac dates are anchored to these points. Aries begins near the spring equinox. Cancer starts near the summer solstice. Libra rises with the autumn equinox. Capricorn marks the winter solstice. This pattern is not just astronomy. It is tradition, passed through countless generations, ensuring that the stars and the seasons always meet. Earth does not stand straight. It leans at an angle of about 23.5 degrees. This tilt is the reason we have seasons, and the reason the sun moves through the zodiac in a steady rhythm. Without the tilt, there would be no change in the sun's height, no solstices, no shifting constellations in the sky. Ancient astronomers may not have known the exact angle, but they understood its effects. They built temples and markers to track the sun's height across the year. These measurements helped fix the dates of each zodiac sign, keeping human calendars in harmony with the sky's great wheel. The stars seem fixed, but they are not. Over thousands of years, the position of the equinoxes slowly shifts. This slow movement is called the precession of the equinoxes. It is caused by a gentle wobble in Earth's axis, like a spinning top leaning slightly to one side. Because of this, the constellations rise in slightly different places over centuries. The zodiac signs we use today were fixed long ago, so in the sky, the sun is now often in a neighboring constellation on those dates. Still, we follow the ancient calendar, keeping alive the rhythm first set by early astronomers. There are 2 main ways to measure the zodiac. The tropical zodiac fixes the signs to the solstices and equinoxes, keeping the calendar aligned with the seasons. The sidereal zodiac fixes the signs to the actual constellations in the sky, allowing them to slowly drift with precession. Western astrology mostly uses the tropical system, while Vedic astrology in India follows the sidereal system. This difference means that the same birth date can have different signs in each tradition. It is a reminder that astrology is both science and story, shaped by how humans choose to read the sky. The zodiac's dates were deeply tied to the calendars of ancient civilizations. The Babylonians, Egyptians, and Greeks each adjusted their calendars to match the sun's movement. Leap days and small changes were added to keep the seasons and stars in harmony. When the Julian and later Gregorian calendars were created, these ancient star dates were carried forward. Even though our modern lives are far from temple observatories, the signs still begin and end at the same points they did thousands of years ago. A quiet link to the ancient world we rarely notice. For ancient farmers, the zodiac was not only about destiny, it was about survival. Each sign marked a key point in the farming cycle. Taurus, for example, was linked with planting in spring. Virgo with harvest in late summer. These associations came from centuries of watching the land respond to the sky. Astrology was a living calendar. If the stars said it was time to sow seeds, you did. If they warned of storms, you prepared. This deep link between the heavens and the soil meant that the zodiac's dates were written not just in charts, but in the rhythms of rivers, winds, and rains. Many ancient festivals were timed by the zodiac's dates. The start of Aries often meant celebrations for the new year in some cultures. Leo's season brought fire festivals under the summer sky. The return of Capricorn marked winter feasts and the hope of light returning. These celebrations kept people in tune with the sky. Even those who could not read star charts knew the meaning of the dates by the sounds of drums, the smell of feasts, and the flicker of firelight. The zodiac was a clock that rang not with bells, but with the voices of entire communities. From the temple steps to the farmer's field, from royal courts to crowded marketplaces, the zodiac's dates kept life moving in harmony with the sky. But the calendar was never completely still. Every few centuries, adjustments had to be made. In the next scenes, we will see how rulers, scholars, and even entire empires worked to keep the calendar and the zodiac in balance, and how those decisions still shape the horoscopes we read today. In many empires, the calendar was guarded by rulers and their chosen star readers. These court astrologers were trusted to decide when the year would begin, when taxes would be collected, and when wars should be declared. The accuracy of the zodiac's dates was more than a matter of science. It was a matter of power. Mistakes could bring disaster. If the planting season came too late, crops failed. If the stars were read wrong before a battle, soldiers might march into storms. For this reason, kings built great observatories and supported those who could keep the sky and the calendar in harmony. Over the centuries, the drifting of dates forced great reforms. Julius Caesar introduced the Julian calendar to bring the year back in line with the sun. More than 1,500 years later, Pope Gregory XIII created the Gregorian calendar we still use today. These changes were meant to keep the solstices and equinoxes in their proper place, and with them, the zodiac dates. The adjustments were small on paper, days added or removed, but they were huge for farmers, priests, and astrologers. The goal was always the same: keep the heavens and earth in step. The Zodiac states have survived wars, empires, and even the slow turning of the earth itself. They are the same markers used by farmers in Babylon, priests in Egypt, and philosophers in Greece. Each date is a thread, tying us to people who lived thousands of years before us. In the next chapter, we will leave the science of the calendar and step into the realm of belief. We will ask, why do so many people trust the stars with their hopes, fears, and love stories? And why, even in a world of science, do horoscopes still speak to the human heart? For thousands of years, people have looked to the stars for guidance. A horoscope can feel like a quiet voice in a noisy world, a reminder that your life has meaning and a pattern. In times of uncertainty, the idea that the universe has a plan can bring comfort. Belief in astrology is not always about science. It is about connection. The stars become a mirror for our feelings, our hopes, and our fears. When the world feels unpredictable, horoscopes offer a steady rhythm, a story that continues no matter what happens on Earth. A zodiac sign can feel like a badge of identity. People say, "I am a Leo," or "I am a Pisces," as if these words explain something deep inside them. The traits linked to each sign, bravery, kindness, curiosity, give people a way to understand themselves. This sense of belonging is powerful. It can connect strangers in conversation, create friendships, and even guide life choices. Whether or not the stars truly shape us, the stories we tell about them shape how we see ourselves. And in a way, that makes the influence real. Before we explore doubt and skepticism, I'd like to know, what's your sign? Write it in the comments below, and maybe tell one thing you think is true about it. Sharing these stories keeps the ancient tradition alive, just as people once gathered to tell tales under the stars. If you are enjoying this journey, like this video so it reaches more dreamers who walk at night, and subscribe so you can join me in the next chapter of the sky's story. Humans are pattern-seeking creatures. We look at clouds and see shapes. We look at stars and see animals, heroes, and gods. Astrology offers one of the oldest patterns of all, a cycle that repeats every year, giving meaning to every date. In this pattern, people find comfort. Life feels less random when the stars suggest reasons for joy or warning. Even if the words are general, they can still feel deeply personal. This quiet reassurance is one reason why astrology has survived for millennia, despite changes in science and society. Not everyone believes. Skeptics point out that many horoscope predictions are vague enough to fit anyone. Scientists note that the gravitational pull of distant planets is too weak to influence human behavior at birth. To them, astrology is more art than science. Yet, even some skeptics admit to checking their sign now and then, perhaps out of curiosity, perhaps out of habit. This mix of disbelief and fascination is part of astrology's strange charm. It exists in the space between truth and story, science and myth. Belief and doubt walk together under the same sky. One person may see destiny in the constellations, another only random stars. And yet both are touched by the same light, the same ancient patterns that have guided humanity for ages. In the next part of our journey, we will explore the personal side of horoscopes, the stories of people who let the stars guide their biggest choices, and what happened when they did. For some, horoscopes are not just entertainment. They are maps for life. A person may delay a journey if their sign warns of trouble. Another may take a new job because their horoscope spoke of opportunity. These choices are shaped by belief, and belief itself can shape reality. Even when events could have happened without the stars, the feeling of being guided makes people act differently. It gives courage, or it gives caution. In this way, astrology becomes more than a prediction. It becomes a partner in decision-making. Not all stories end well. Sometimes the stars promise joy, but life delivers hardship. A lover leaves, a plan fails, a dream fades, even though the horoscope spoke of good fortune. In these moments, belief can be shaken. Some walk away from astrology entirely. Others, however, find meaning even in the mismatch. They say the stars were teaching patience or warning of a hidden lesson. For them, astrology is not about perfect accuracy, but about a deeper conversation between the self and the universe. Whether it lifts us or disappoints us, astrology leaves a mark. It becomes a quiet thread in our personal story, a chapter that connects us to the oldest storytellers, those who looked at the same stars and wondered the same things. In the next and final scenes, we will slow down and reflect on what the stars mean in a world where science explains so much. Yet mystery still lingers in the night sky. Astrology is no longer only in old books and quiet observatories. Today, it is on phone apps, social media posts, and coffee shop conversations. You can read your horoscope while waiting for the bus, or watch videos about your sign at midnight. The sky's stories have found new homes in glowing screens. This modern reach means astrology is shared faster than ever before. A poem about Pisces, a joke about Aries, a prediction for Scorpio. They travel the world in seconds. The stars have moved from the temple walls to the endless digital sky. For many, the value of astrology is not in proving it true, but in the personal meaning it brings. A horoscope can inspire someone to take a chance, to slow down, or to reflect on a relationship. Even without scientific certainty, it can spark change. In this way, astrology works like art or music. Its truth is not measured in numbers, but in feelings. If the stars make someone feel connected, encouraged, or understood, then, in that moment, astrology has done its work. In the end, belief in astrology is a choice to see the universe as a storyteller, or simply as a vast, silent sky. Both views can be beautiful. Both can bring peace, and both are lit by the same stars that shone over ancient Babylon, Egypt, Greece, and beyond. In our final moments together, we will step away from facts and doubts and simply listen to the quiet voice of the night. We will remember that even if the stars do not shape our fate, they can still shape our dreams. The night sky is the oldest story we know. It has been told in whispers by firelight, sung in temples, and written in books. Every person who has ever lived has looked up and seen these same lights. Some saw gods, some saw maps, some saw nothing but beauty. And yet, no matter what we believe, the stars remain. They shine over our joys, our sorrows, our beginnings, and our endings. They are the silent witnesses to every life. If this journey through the history and meaning of horoscopes has stayed with you, even just a little, let us know. Like this video so it can reach others who wonder about the stars. Subscribe so we can walk together again, through history, through myth, and under the same sky. Every night holds a new story, and I'd like you to be here for the next one. Long after our cities fade, long after our voices are gone, the stars will still be here. They will keep moving in their endless dance, marking seasons, whispering stories to whoever is left to listen. We are small in their light, but we are also part of it. Our stories are threads in the same tapestry the stars have been weaving since time began. So tonight, when you see the stars, remember, you are looking at the same lights that guided sailors across oceans, that told farmers when to plant, that gave poets their dreams. Sleep well under the stars. May they watch over you as they have watched over us all for thousands of years.